that.
Of course. You know exactly where you're at. Now you can't escape us.
Nope. Now I know where you live. Well, if I want to have an idea of faking a murder and I have somebody in mind, I have Stu I can just walk to.
There you go.
There you go.
I mean, let's get started here, guys. What a trip.
I'll take that as a good sign.
Bonkers story, super entertaining. I mean, Stu, you are director, writer.
Yep.
Adam, we have you as producer, writer, and playing Shia LaBeouf.
Yes, that is. Yes, I play Shia on my. I'm a Shia impersonator on my downtime.
He puts the buff in Shia LaBeouf.
Aha! Which one was a hard challenge? The writer, producer, or playing the Shia part?
You know, Shia, he always comes. I just kind of tap into my inner Shia, so that's pretty easy to come out. I would say the producer role was probably the toughest, working with a director like this.
Okay. Well, let's start with you, Stu. As the writer, how did you come up with the story? How'd you get this idea?
Yeah, well, Adam and I basically got caught up in the wave of true crime programming that was flooding all of our television sets, cell phones, and tablets over the last decade. You know, the Jinx, the Staircase, Making a Murderer. I mean, these things just captivated us. We became hooked with it and hooked on it, I should say. And we had previously done horror movies. And the last project we did was a documentary called Jack of All Trades. And after we had gotten finished doing Jack of All Trades, we had this idea that, you know, we could shoot a horror movie in the style of a documentary, and sort of, you know, the true crime genre was ripe for the pickings to do like a satire. Plus, you know, watching those shows, they're so well edited and produced that we were like, how can this not be, is this real? You know, it's like, it had us questioning moments because, like, you know, those shows are so good. And so we decided, like, hey, maybe we could create our own true crime phenomenon. And that's what we set out to do. We obviously we weren't licensed or trained to find a real dangerous killer, so we had to create one of our own.
It was also like a social experiment. You know, it's like society's so perceived over television these days, and stardom and all these things. And so we were trying to see, like, hey, if we concoct this crazy idea, can we sell people into thinking that this is actually real while we're producing it? And so, like, every scene we do had to be, it's a one take. You got that one take to do and make that person opposite you believe that this story is actually happening. And that was the real challenge. But yeah, that's kind of our approach to making this film.
I was actually going to ask about the shots because, I mean, it's shooting and knowing what's the shot and where the angles. I mean, that is a lot of work behind what we get to see as viewers. Tell me about the challenges in this case, the fact that right now you confess there was like one shot type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, so for certain stuff, like Adam sort of alluded to, you know, there's 55 people on screen in this movie and only 5 of them kind of know what's going on. Everybody else is like really, you know, we're using real people to move the story along that actually are, you know, buy what we're selling here. So, you know, for some of the complex shots, you know, we had to design these shots before these people even got there. So we would sort of rehearse the moves and rehearse the shots. And we also had to plan like every which way that these people might go with it. You know, it's like a choose your own adventure book where you have to sort of plan A, plan B, plan C, and then emergency plan. You know, another thing was we did a lot of reactive sort of camera work in this. You know, if you watch the film, you'll notice that purposely by design, like the camera guy's not in a room and we enter the room already, like in a reality show. You know, the camera's with you, kind of bringing the viewer in as if you're a part of it too. We show the crew in our movie. You know, we want to show you that so that you feel like you're part of this filmmaking process. So yeah, I mean, the camera guys definitely were instructed, like, never telegraph a move, like let the subject lead the action. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I was going to say on that same regard too. You know, we went out there trying to understand what we were going to do, and be more of like, these are two ordinary guys who are true crime fans. And to the audience who's watching, it's like, what would you do if you were these guys? We represent the every guy, the everyman, right? Like, all these true crime fans are just always out there trying to be like, I would have solved it like this, or I would have done that, or I would have hired him. And now you kind of get to relive that scenario with these two average Joes who go out and kind of, investigate beyond their wildest dreams, and they're way in over their heads, and they shouldn't be doing this in the first place. So it's kind of brings you in very well as another character in the film.
Also, like, our camera crew, like, they half the time didn't know what was going on. One challenge though for this, like for Adam and myself, for sure, we're in front of the camera as well, as you know. And so, like Adam said, a lot of these scenes, especially when we brought our assistant to the middle of the woods to look in a trunk for a body, which she really did, you only have one shot to do that. So a lot of trust has to be put into the guys that you have in those positions. We had a guy named Jeff, we call him Jeff the Dragon, another guy, Nick Teringer, we call him Nick the Ringer and the Dragon. But we obviously made sure that we planned those very serious, heavy lifting sort of one shots to a place where we were all sort of trusting each other. And, because we only got one shot. We're not looking at a monitor seeing what they're getting, because we're living it. So, kudos to them. They totally nailed the style that we were looking for. And, the result of the film, like, we're so excited about it.
Viewers will definitely get to the raw shot. I mean, one of the raw shots was when you have, well, I'm not going to say too much, but when someone from behind the camera, it comes in to strap the microphone. Like, the way that was handled was hilarious. I was just like, are you kidding me? And yeah. I'm like laughing. That was great.
And that's another example of, like, our sound recordist, like, that wasn't rehearsed. Like, he did, like, this is all really just sort of happening on the fly. I love that moment when we, like, taped the, so good.
I'm sure they were entertainers themselves, like, not knowing what's next. Like, what are they going to be asked for to do? You know what I mean?
That was the thing too. Like, they were nervous because knowing Stu and I were always like, pulling pranks and just scaring people for no reason and just kind of giving them, a good time, but they didn't know what to expect. And I think that was also an exciting thing coming to work every day, is like, what are we in for today? Like, all these people, the private investigator we go and meet first, Brian, that's a real private investigator. That guy worked on the Innocence Project. Like, that's the real deal. So for us trying to sell our fictitious story along and for him to buy it was just insane. And kind of, we adapted that, that Borat of true crime scenario that you see throughout the entire film. But there were a lot of moments.
The ride along with the police, that was legit. Like, these are all crazy things that it could have gone wrong very quickly for Adam and I.
But the film gods were on our side.
Yes. I think as much as Adam and I wanted to kill each other making this movie, like, probably half the time the crew wanted to kill us too.
We still want to kill each other. It's fine. It's a natural thing between Stu and I, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So what was one of the things that during, like, you wrote it, you guys were, directing it, you guys were spontaneously kind of making things happen. So how much of the end of that written script was changed last minute?
Well, that's the thing. There wasn't a written script.
What's a script?
So we essentially, what we did to sell the movie was we created just like a beat sheet, like an outline of, like, different beats we wanted to get and move the story along. So we knew that we had to, hey, what do you do when you sell a show? Well, you put stuff together, you go make a pitch. All right, well, maybe we should practice our pitch in front of our family. All that stuff is real. We didn't even tell our family that we're rolling camera at that point. The cameras are there, but we say that we're rehearsing this for the real thing. And we give them our actual pitch while we're rehearsing. So people are not, there's that red light syndrome that comes on with everybody. When they see that red light on the camera, they start to perk up and they're on. But we couldn't use that. Everything had to be authentic and real as much as possible.
You can't rely on people who aren't actors to act, or else people will smell it. That is BS. So you kind of just want everybody to be real. On that note, for the script, as Adam was saying, like, this was sort of like scripted in a way that you would do if you were working on a hidden camera show or something like that. It's like, it's laid out very, not distributed to anyone. So it's like Adam and myself and maybe one other person are the only people even looking at this document. but it's sort of a map that it's got webs and it's got tangles. Where's it going? What if they go here, there? Like I said, it's very much was written in that sort of way. And as far as making changes, there was changes the whole way through. For example, our assistant Michaela, going back to her, when when we got pulled into the house, she could have easily gone with Adam and come into the house. Now she's in the rest of the movie. She decided she didn't want to go. So it's like there's a change right there. The ending of the film, the actual ending with
we don't want to spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I'll just say that on the way, that idea to I don't even know how to say it without spoiling it, but the idea to have a victim in a cold place, let's just say, that was an idea that was not even, we thought about that on the drive to his house that day. That was not even part of our original plan. It's because the more we interacted with people, we saw what the story could be. And it's like the real people we had a sort of a blank script with headers, and the real people that we interacted with filled in all the dialogue and the details. And it was really, really cool.
That's great. From start to finish, including people got to watch the credits.
Yeah.
It was a kick. Talking back about the scene where you're talking about the family. So that was all raw. What would you do? You were just filming to practice, or?
Yeah, essentially we said, all right, guys, we're going to go and pitch our next movie. But the pitch to the family to be in the movie was, we want to practice our pitch for our new film. So can everyone come to our house at this time? And we had everyone come over, and that was a house that I owned, and they came over for brunch, and we sat them down, and we had the camera team there, but we said, we're not going to film anything. We're just going to rehearse so that we could all understand what the beats of the scene are.
They didn't know we were rolling.
That was just for us to have them be off guard, right? So that when we actually started talking to them, we had code words to roll the camera. So for example, if you heard somebody ask for a glass of pineapple juice, that means record.
Yeah.
And so they would record, and then Stu and I, we would be like, hey, you guys got that pineapple juice? They're recording. We start doing our pitch, and we're getting the authentic reaction.
Also put tape over the red light to block it. They don't even see that it's rolling. But yeah, like he said, also our Jack of All Trades movie, our family was in that movie. So they were already used to being around us with cameras, and they were already conditioned that oh, Adam and Stu film us. That's what's part of our life. So when we brought them over, it wasn't so weird to have cameras there, right? But like he said, we were made them feel like they were in on something by being hey, listen, before we roll, we want to sort of take you through what we're doing here, just so you know. And then we did the pitch to them. And then after we were done the pitch, they're like, okay, are we going to do this? And we're like, nah, we got it. Thank you.
That is
and consequently, we never told them it wasn't real. For 7, 8, 9 months, Adam's wife, my sister, would call and be yelling at him. We'd roll camera if she called and yelled at him. We'd purposely film or take advantage of any instances where our family would be upset with us, angry with us, or questioning our sanity for doing this.
Okay, so how long did it take for you guys to film this?
We actually shot only about 18 days. We kind of spread it out. We had different targets. We were constantly producing as we shot, because there was an idea when we go to the Toronto Film Festival that wasn't in our initial pitch. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so we decided we're like, oh, this is actually happening, and Hollywood Suite is putting on an event. Hey, why don't we, concoct a scene and add that in? It was just an added piece, but it ended up being such a big part of our, our
the dentist guy, that we didn't know was going to be so gold. We just went to him to try to get him to sign an insurance document, and he ends up telling us about Ted Bundy and all this stuff. It was great. We were we love this guy. All real, these guys. I'm just laughing thinking about it. We did way more crazy stuff that didn't even get into the movie. But at that dentist office, we had him giving us samples of the nitrous tank. We had a very good time.
That's great. Wait a minute. So the audience in that scene where you guys are talking about your pitch, those people didn't know they were being filmed?
They had no idea. They knew that there was a documentary crew that was filming that day. There was an area release outside. And so when you entered the premises, we then had the release for them, a group release, to say you're going to be on camera. If you don't want to be on camera, then don't be in this room.
Yeah, there was definitely some there was some trickery that we had to use to like pull that off for sure. And I can't say it now. I'm taking it to my grave, but that was an incredible event for sure.
Okay. I'm glad you covered that scene right now because I was afraid of asking, so I don't want to, people should be surprised.
Yeah. You know what? I think there's a lot of surprises at every corner in the movie, and then like it's a multi-watch film, right? There's like the first time you watch it and you take it in for what it is, and the second time you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, well that was real, but probably that was staged, but that was real, and he had to have been fake, but that guy was real, And then the third time you watch it, it becomes a whole other film that you watch for yourself as well, just to kind of get back into the feel. So it's definitely a multi-watch type of movie.
Well, you guys are definitely naturals. I mean, you guys have a history of acting, for a very long time. I'm sure everything just kind of came so natural for you and facilitated. What do you have anything new that you want to share that you might be working on or seeing you in?
Yeah, I mean, what are we working on? We have another movie that we're going to camera in on September. It's called Bandits. It is a stoner heist movie about these 4 stoner idiots who have a great idea to knock over a bingo hall on Christmas Eve and steal the $25,000 jackpot money. And we're going to be shooting in a very exotic location, Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the middle of Canada, which is not that exotic. It's the opposite of exotic. Is
that a word that has an opposite to it? Exotic?
Exotic, plain. Like a bagel. Like a plain bagel with cream cheese.
Yes.
And what Stu, that's the voice of Ralphie from the Magic School Bus. Stu was in this little movie called Donnie Darko. You might have known him from. And Stu is like the voice of like every single other like cartoon that we all grew up with from the age of 5 until probably 25. I don't want to toot his horn too much, but he's been around the block.
Adams was in Hemlock Grove. He's in the movie Shazam. He's got some credits. I mean, listen.
I was a fan of Shazam, by the way.
You like Shazam? You saw Shazam?
I loved it. I it's one of those things. Us at this end, we only watch a movie probably once, and we don't get a chance to keep, because you have other stuff you got to watch for, to cover. But Shazam, I went to the theater after getting the screener. Like I went twice. I watched it 3 times after I watched it the first time. So yeah. So
that was like one of my, it was an incredible experience. I'm only in like 1.5 scenes, but my character is the only person in that movie to really survive the 7 deadly sins.
Wow.
Spoiler. That's the trivia there.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah. As far as us being on camera again together, we are developing a series version of this Faking a Murder thing where, Adam and I are contemplating opening up. This is real. Opening up a detective agency called the Brothers-in-Law, because we are brothers-in-law, and taking on people's cases and coming to you and bringing our expertise to help you solve your case. No case is too small. So
that's awesome.
Is that the tagline we're going with? No case is too small?
I mean, it's a working title.
I think so. I like it.
Good one. It's open. You guys are open to take anything.
Yes. Open for business.
Most things, not anything, but we're open. We're open to most. We're open to fun. We like to have fun. We're so lucky we get what we like to do what we love, and it's just great. So we get to create our own projects, and people get to trust us with their own creative, and that's the ultimate goal as a filmmaker, right? It's like we get to see it from the ground up and execute, and it's Stu and I doing everything. We write, produce, direct. We're in the edit bay. We're delivering it to the broadcaster. We're like in the thick of it. So
yeah,
talk about it now with you guys.
And this specific movie like blends a lot of things that we love. The hidden camera prank stuff, even comedy. Obviously, there's some pro wrestling in here. As far as like, wait a minute, this isn't real, but that's real. And then magic, of course. There's a magic to doing something like this when you can present something to somebody. They're watching it and their brain is trained to watch it a certain way. And then at a certain point in the movie, it sort of flips everything on its axis and then people's either minds explode or they like start getting angry.
Let me ask you, Nancy, what was like the most memorable scene from the film? Did something stick with you throughout that you're like, oh my God, that was insane, or I can't believe that happened?
Well, one of my favorite scenes was how you integrated the camera crew, like people behind, to strap this individual the mic. That was brilliant, because I was like, well, they must, have like, one of those mics that it's up in the air. But yeah,
The old boom mic.
there we go. Yeah. So yeah, that was brilliant. The one, how you just made it happen like that. I look at the creativity
Awesome.
that you
Yeah,
don't see often.
Yeah, it was all very meta, and it all had to be that way for it to work out and sell. So, well, thank you very much. I'm happy you connected with it.
That was a good scene. That was a good scene.
Also, a huge shout out to the other three sort of teammates that helped us make this on camera. The other cast members you see us with, there's detectives, there's pizza guys, there's killers. These guys were amazing, and they all were so believable that we even believed it. You know what I mean? It was so much fun to make this movie, and we just hope that people will have just as much fun as we had making it, watching it, and tell a friend that you got to see this. That's what we're hoping for here.
For sure. And obviously you guys have like awesome chemistry on screen. The jokes, the bickering, like it's awesome. That's where everything just feels so good and raw. I enjoy it.
We like to practice our bickering on a bi-weekly level. So we get together, we put ourselves in a closed room, and we just fight back and forth until something creative comes out.
Like, we would get into arguments on set that we could, since Adam and I were the only ones that knew what was going on most of the time, we would have to argue almost in code because we didn't want other people to hear what we were talking about. People looked at us like we were crazy. And when we would get in these arguments because we're both passionate about the thing. And, both of us obviously we're very strong creative people. So we have differing opinions on maybe she's going to do this, maybe he's going to do that. But the crew would see us argue and they wouldn't know whether, is this part of this or are we like, they would just roll on everything. So it was magical in that sense because we got to use a lot of our real life bickering in the movie. That's not acting. That's really us.
Oh my gosh, you fooled me. I thought that was acting.
I was acting. I'm just a better actor. That's all.
Right. Well, there you go.
Of course, Shia. Well, thank you guys for your time. And I am glad we covered our T-zones.
Yes, she really did watch the movie. Wow.
That's good. I like that. The T-zone. You went all the way to the end.
Yeah, you're the best.
I watched it from the beginning to the end. That's what I'm saying. People got to watch.
You know what? That's so awesome because like we do these Easter eggs and like little post credit sequences that we don't think people actually watch, but they watch and it's fun. So
when someone says that, like what you just said, the T-zone, that like makes me beam with happiness because I know you got all the way there, and that's amazing. I had somebody who watched the movie just hit me up recently on a text out of nowhere. Like I didn't even know they were watching the movie, and they wrote TTFN, and I'm like TTFN, and they're like ta-ta for now. I was like, like it's so funny, like just little things that are so brilliant scattered throughout the movie. But anyway, TTFN.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys, and we look forward to seeing the continuation of this. Then.
Yes, hopefully, yeah, that'll be great.
I guess you have all the release stuff, but we premiere on August 6th. I'm sure that Shine House will give you all the outlets and whatnot.
Yeah. We will get everything and put it out there. And where are we going to be seeing your future project for continuing with Faking Murder?
Well, we're going to announce that in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just closing some stuff off, but the next thing that we're going to do is that feature, that heist movie. You guys will be up to speed, I promise, and we would love to keep in touch and help each other out as we grow.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much and congratulations, and you guys take care. Until next time.
Take care. Thanks.
Thanks.